I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
All right, we're actually like getting kind of close to Wolves training camp in a few weeks here. There's going to be like Wolves Media Day toward the end of September. And before you know it, the basketball season will be upon us. And it's funny because you kind of, when Matt Lloyd, Judd, was on our State Fair show, Flagrant Howls, the Wolves general manager, you kind of poked him about, are we sure that the roster is set? Could there be another trade in the night somewhere?
Yep.
And he's like, I mean, I think it's set, but after last year, you're always on alert to have to drive to someone's house at 9:45 at night and tell them they've been traded to the East Coast.
The thing I didn't think about, because we knew the backstory, that Tim Connolly actually drove to Carl's house, and Carl was there with his friends, and Connolly, I guess to his credit, was like, I want to tell him face to face. But what Matt said, and I didn't think about, was he had to get the address to Carl's house.
Yeah. Does anybody have his actual address?
I mean, I guess it makes sense you wouldn't know where the dude lives, but just the thought of, okay, get me Carl's address.
Where is he living these days?
So
is he up in? He's in Maple Plain? Oh man, is he?
So do you think Carl and his friends saw like this car pull up? Because I'm guessing Connolly is, just drives a pretty standardized car, right? He's got the family. Seems like a pretty
you don't think he drives like a Lamborghini around the metro?
No. So do you think that they saw that car pull up and they're like, did someone get pizza?
Yeah. Is it DoorDash? Carl, that's the fourth time this week. Yep. I thought we were cooking at home.
What are we doing with this? And he's like, I don't know whose car that is. Call the cops.
Oh, it's Tim. You want to come in, buddy? Actually, you've been traded. So we're gonna take an idea from either last week or the week before. The weeks are blending together here on Flagrant Howls, your favorite Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
It was last week.
And we were talking about it was the Canis Hoopus article that suggested retiring Ricky Rubio's number, which launched us into a discussion about, okay, let's be careful retiring numbers. And as we debated on a Purple Daily episode, statues of people, how about like a Ring of Honor? Or, because it's the Timberwolves, a Den of Honor. Mm-hmm. Let's go through that exercise on this episode after we shout out MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning here, Judd.
So guess what, folks? Fall is coming, and it's getting chilly outside. This week's been nice. Last week was downright cold, and it's time. That reminds you that it's perfect time, actually, to have your furnace checked out, and there's nobody better to do it than MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air, who can take care of everything around your house. But this is a great time to get ahead of the game to make sure that furnace is in tip-top shape. It doesn't have to be broken. It could be not going at full strength, right? And you want that for when it gets cold outside. So get ahead of the game and contact my friends at MSP. I'm going to tell you right now, they've been to my house. They do fantastic work. 651-615-4292 or call MSP.com. Call MSP.com. They belong in a den of honor when it comes to plumbing, heating, and air.
Yeah. And I do feel like we should, before we get into this exercise, we saw the news that everyone else saw a couple days ago of Naz Reid's sister, and I'm just pulling the article here from ESPN.com, but the sister of Naz Reid fatally shot at a New Jersey apartment complex over the weekend. Authorities said Monday that her boyfriend has been charged with murder. Police went to the Paragon apartment complex in Jackson around 11 a.m. Saturday after receiving reports of shots fired. They soon found Tariah Reid, 28 years old, unresponsive near the complex's exit, and she apparently had been shot multiple times, according to the Ocean County prosecutor. Officers also saw Shaquille Green, 29 years old, of Jackson, running down a nearby road, and he was soon taken into custody without incident and then subsequently charged with murder. So just a terrible situation for Naz Reid, his family, and it's a terrible deal. So thoughts with Naz Reid and his sister and their family. We saw that news a couple days ago, and there's really not a whole lot else to say other than it's terrible. Amen. And you feel really bad for that family.
Yeah, exactly.
So, give him some space over the coming weeks and months to figure out what's going on there. But let's get into our exercise here. The Wolves Den of Honor. And Judd kind of nailed it in our just initial framing of this, that we probably have to have discussions about players, coaches, and broadcasters to fill this out. If there was like, a section of the new arena that had you could go in like, to I don't know, you can bring a cocktail in and wander around and see the different tributes to all these different people. So should we start the discussion with players and kind of go from there?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Throw a player out, or 2 or 3 players. Who has to be considered player-wise for the Wolves Den of Honor?
So just to start with the slam dunk ones, okay? Garnett is a slam dunk, obviously.
With consideration for jersey retirement as well.
Yeah, with consideration. And if he'll just show up here, we'll do it then. But I'm going to throw at you some potentials. So I actually sat down over the weekend and came up with guys. And it's funny because my memories of some guys, the actual resume, not as flattering, but they still deserve to be talked about, okay?
Yeah.
My list includes of potential guys, Tom Gugliotta.
I love that one.
He wasn't as good as I thought because he wasn't here. Like, he was here for 4 years, but he definitely gets consideration.
He was their best player. List the names and then we'll circle back.
Kevin Love.
Okay.
Ricky Rubio. Wally Zerbiak. And I think we probably put in, because his jersey is in the rafters because of his tragic death in a drunk driving accident. He was not drunk. Malik Sealy.
Yeah, okay.
And then let me give you some candidates as well. Terrell Brandon. Wow. Tony Campbell. Sam Cassell. Sam Mitchell. Pooh Richardson. Wow. Doug West.
Oh, man.
And then here's 3 sort of in the next tier. I don't think that they would make it, but
okay.
I'll mention them.
So this is kind of 3 different tiers.
Yes. The first tier, the tier that ends with Zerbiak, probably deserves incredibly strong consideration.
Okay.
The next tier is guys that deserve, I think, consideration, but they're not slam dunks. Terrell Brandon, Tony Campbell, Sam Cassell, Sam Mitchell, Pooh Richardson, Doug West. And then my last 3 names that I've got for you are Steph Marbury, Andrew Wiggins.
Wow. Getting wiggy with it.
Well,
did you forget someone?
Well, so like active players, is that what you're about to
say? I'm not doing active players right now.
Yeah. So I think
just
Karl Anthony Towns,
yes.
Anthony Edwards. If you are, technically Kevin Love is still an active player, but he's right at the end of, he's very gray at this
active
point.
Players, this might not be popular, but when it's all said and done, Gobert can be talked about.
Absolutely. And part of this is there is a difference between statue, jersey retirement,
yes,
Den of Honor. Den of Honor is a place. It is a bar, but you don't have to be.
Well,
I think Gobert is a basketball Hall of Famer when it's all said and done.
Oh, sure. But I'm just saying, as a Timberwolf, yes.
Yeah.
But as much as we rip them currently, I think the team that has this really, really well honed, and because it includes like broadcasters and coaches, I think the Twins. I think the Twins are the standard. The Twins have done a great job because Koski. We talked about this last week. You could argue, is Koski really a Twins Hall of Famer? And it's a question mark, but he also was a very good player on some very good teams. So I think the Twins are probably the best example. The Vikings are too. They don't go like into broadcasters.
Yeah. Koski's definitely debatable, but at the same time, the early 2000s Twins, the contraction Twins from 2001 through like toward the end of the decade, or even like that 5-year run where they won a bunch of divisions, that was probably the 3rd best era of Twins baseball. If 87 through 91 is kind of an era, and then there's the mid to late 60s into the early 70s where they had Carew and Killebrew and Bob Allison at the end of his career and all those guys, Jim Cott.
Yep.
The early 2000s Twins, that era was for younger Twins fans like me and Declan, like that's how you got hooked back on Twins baseball.
Yep.
And Corey Koski is one of the 5 best players on that set of teams. So, like, yeah, I like the comparison of how the Twins have done it with their Hall of Fame, where Koski's not ever going to be a baseball Hall of Famer, but his meaningfulness to Twins baseball is prominent enough.
Yep.
And so if we're taking active players out, that means that this discussion about Wolves Den of Honor will not include Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert. You know that I would at least bring up Jimmy Butler in this conversation because he helped end a 14-year playoff drought, but he's an active player. Yep. It would rule out Jaden McDaniels, who at some point might be in consideration, Naz Reid at some point, Mike Conley, I think you could actually make a strong case for. If you wanted to make a case for D'Angelo Russell, because they did get back to the playoffs in large part because of D'Angelo Russell, but all those guys are active and not part of the conversation. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to comb, before we pin down the specific names on your list, I do want to throw out some other ones. I'm looking at our most recently updated top 100 Timberwolves of all time list, which was the last update was like early in 2025.
Okay.
Some names you did not bring up that are in the top 25 or 30 all-time Timberwolves.
Okay.
Al Jefferson. Does he belong in this conversation?
You know what?
Really
I forgot
bad
him.
teams.
Yes. Yep. I forgot him. He was my my third name there at the end, and I don't know he makes it.
Again, we're not putting him in. He deserves his name to be mentioned on the episode, right?
Yes, he does. 100%.
Okay. Christian Laettner he's in the top 25 all-time Timberwolves.
That's just an indictment of the Wolves franchise history.
Did you say Tony Campbell? You said Tony.
I
Campbell.
did. Yep.
Okay.
First score.
Latrell Sprewell. So Cassell gets his name mentioned, but we don't mention Latrell Sprewell.
Yeah, I actually went back and looked. Cassell's impact, according to some of the stuff I read, was greater. Was greater, yeah. So that's why. Yeah. But yes, Sprewell's fine. Yep.
Joe Smith? You putting Joe Smith in there?
And
he'll be in the Kawhi Leonard wing.
Can we get the contract?
Den of Honor.
Yeah. God.
We should put the contract, the under the table contract.
If you did a Timberwolves history like a museum, right? Yeah. That contract belongs in that museum.
It would be right next to the 2009 NBA draft big board from David Kahn's office.
Or Chris Webber slamming David Kahn for putting Darko Milicic and his name in the same sentence.
Yeah.
It'd be just the picture of Chris Webber looking sideways at David Kahn on NBA TV.
Can you imagine if there's like a picture, though, that night in the Wolves war room, draft room of that big board? And you could get that? That'd be great.
It would be, somebody has a picture of it somewhere, I'm sure. A few other names just to rifle off here that I don't think. Derrick Rose once dropped 50 points in a game. It's probably more of a moment than him being in consideration.
Sure.
Gorgie Jang was a good Timberwolves player. Kyle Anderson. Boy, we're getting to the fringes of the top 40.
Kyle Anderson.
Pekovic. Nikola Pekovic.
Yep.
I don't think I'm going to fight for him to be in, but
yeah. Pro-rated Hall of Fame.
He's in the pro-rated section of the Den of Honor here.
Yep.
Okay. So, yes. And we're sorry, Kevin Love. I think he wants to play another year. I don't know, but I don't think he's officially retired. But for this conversation, Kevin Love is close enough to retirement. We're putting him in the conversation. So
I'm good with that.
I would say no debate on Kevin Garnett, Kevin Love. No debate.
Yeah, I agree.
Just period.
Yep.
Do either one of you want to debate either one of those guys? I think they're just in.
No.
Right? Okay.
No.
That brings us to Wally Szczerbiak. I don't think there's much of a debate. I think he's in. He was a really key figure on really good Timberwolves teams for a long time.
Yes.
Do you want to fight that?
He did. So in the top 10 of the Wolves franchise history, he's 7th in games and points, 10th in assists. He had a 40.4 three-point percentage, which is 3rd in team history behind Fred Hoiberg and, interestingly enough, Mike Conley.
Yeah.
I think in what we're talking about here in this exercise, Wally should be a Den of Honor guy.
Yep. I think before we even get to the Marbury conversation here, Tom Gugliotta was objectively the best player and an all-star on the Timberwolves' first playoff team. Yes, it was Garnett and Marbury as the young tandem, but the best player on that team was Tom Gugliotta. I think he's in for what he did for even a 2.5 year stretch or whatever it was.
I'm biased. So, yes, he didn't do as much as I thought, but he did a lot. And I still remember, I think it was a Sunday afternoon game, and of course the Wolves have always sold those out if they've been halfway decent. And they had made the Danielle Marshall trade, and Googs came in, and like at some point in time, he didn't dress for that game, but they like brought him out, and he got a huge ovation.
Yeah.
And it was there's a Timberwolf.
Speaking of a howl,
Clip that.
There's
for
a
social.
Timberwolf.
oh god,
It scared Declan too, because Declan is like super skittish. So like his own dog scared him.
Dude,
where I
Declan
just get mad at
jumped
Stella.
out of his sweatshirt.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep, your dog is. So yes,
Yeah.
Googs, I'm with you.
there's a fence person here examining our fence after that lovely dog of mine took a run into the street yesterday for the first time, which literally
So scary.
3 to 5 seconds, I thought my dog's going to get smoked by a car. Luckily, there was no cars near, and it wasn't even close to happening. But horrible, awful feeling. And then that scare that you saw was what I felt also when my dog tried to run away from me yesterday
Dex
for
is
the
a
first time.
little jumpy.
Your heart
Yeah,
just
Dex.
drops. That's the worst feeling.
So Zerbiak in.
Googs.
I think Gugliotta in.
Okay.
I think Steph. I've been a little bit of a downplay Steph Marbury guy throughout my podcasting tenure, and I actually think Terrell Brandon was a better player and point guard than Steph Marbury, even though Marbury was more talented and flashy.
Sure.
But you can't deny Marbury's influence on Timberwolves' interest winning in those early stages. I mean, it was from a marketability standpoint and getting a generation of fans on board. It was KG and Marbury as a tandem for a couple of years.
Yes.
And even if he was a little bit at the end, when you look back at his career, a little more flash than substance to his game, a little more of a volume scorer, and obviously kind of a cantankerous personality, I think he absolutely belongs in the Timberwolves Den of Honor.
And interestingly enough, I found this. So Steph played here for 3 seasons, Brandon for 4. They both left here with the exact same assist percentage, 8.3%.
Wow.
Or 8.3, I'm sorry, per game. Not
Oh,
percentage.
per game. Okay.
Per game. 8.3 per game. But yeah, Gugliotta, so despite the fact that they didn't coexist great, Gugliotta, Marbury, and then Garnett as the alpha was very much the first, at the time, big 3.
Yep. They're all
When a big 3 was
100%.
possible with the cap.
Yep, totally. Okay. In terms of like stalwart 90s Timberwolves that aren't necessarily just at their peak, the best players in Wolves history conversation, I think Doug West, Sam Mitchell are in. Just long, veteran, grinded out Timberwolves presences throughout the 90s. Two of the longest tenured Timberwolves during the startup phase of this franchise that also played a part on playoff teams. Mm-hmm. Any fight on those two guys?
Mitchell is in based on what you said, because he had 10 seasons here. He had 2 different stints, 9.5 points per game when it was all said and done, but he also coached here. So if you're going to go like with 90 sort of original foundational guys, okay, I would put in Sam Mitchell, I would put in Doug West, and Tony Campbell.
I'm going to throw Pooh Richardson in there too. I think if Campbell's in, I think Pooh Richardson's got to be in.
What was Pooh's?
They
3
were
years, 15 points, 8 assists, 10th pick. But yes, that's fine. So if we're gonna like go foundation pieces, yeah, Doug West, Pooh Richardson, Sam Mitchell, Tony Campbell.
Okay. In. Ricky Rubio, I think we decided to spark this episode that, let's put
I
him
think
in.
you created it because of him, Phil.
Yeah. Shout out Canis Hoopus for giving us this idea.
Yep.
Sam Cassell. I think he's in.
All right, hold on a second. So Rubio, I'm just putting on my list.
It's like one great year, but it was the best year in franchise history.
Yeah. So it's
The
funny.
big balls dance?
He played 15 seasons. He was an all-star once. It was here.
Yeah. They had not won a playoff series in the history of the franchise until he showed up next to Kevin Garnett, and they go to the Western Conference Finals. And if he hadn't gotten hurt, I think they win the whole thing. But they get to 6 games against the Lakers.
Can we put in Cassell and not Latrell? Because I feel like Cassell would be my nod towards that.
I'd put them in. Put them both in. I think you put them both in.
Right down.
It's almost like
Hold on.
it's almost like a nod to that team, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh, very
it
much
is.
so.
And they need to do a better job of like corralling the things that are valuable in that franchise's history and celebrating them.
Hello, Barky.
Well, and they might now too. Like I could see these guys doing exactly that.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not like those guys they weren't like 1-year NBA wonders. They both had really good careers and went. I mean, Cassell has championships with the Rockets. Sprewell went to a finals.
Choked his coach out.
Sprewell choked PJ Carlissimo,
PJ,
who once ghosted the old Mackey and Judd radio show. So I think they're both in. Let's celebrate the best year in franchise history.
Okay.
Terrell Brandon.
This is interesting. If you're going to put Marbury in, I feel like Brandon has to be in. 15.6 points, 4 seasons, 8.3 assists per.
Statistically, you could make that case. And I think Brandon was a better player than Marbury. Marbury had a bigger impact on the franchise than Terrell Brandon did, which is part of his argument.
Do we draw the line at Terrell though?
It's right on the line.
I guess that's my question: is where do we draw a line? I
think you draw it. I certainly think you draw it above Andrew Wiggins, Al Jefferson.
Yep.
I do not put Andrew Wiggins in the. He was more of a failed experiment. He didn't drive meaningful playoff success. That was Jimmy Butler.
He's worthy of a discussion. I think he's worthy of a discussion, but I would not put him in. Yes, and just to be clear, because I think some people are going to be a little bit confused about this. I would say like Campbell, Mitchell, West, and Pooh go in my builders category too.
Yeah.
So like if Pooh Richardson had come along in 2002, I don't think he gets in for me personally. But he was the first draft pick. Yeah. And then like those 4 guys played a major role in, and I know the foundation was not great, but keep in mind too, you know, with Garnett and Steph, they became a playoff team. Like the fact that they went through this huge period of sucking was not a result of that original futility.
Yes. And I know there's going to be some pushback. Like, wait a second, Wiggins is a better player than
that's what I'm. Yeah.
This guy, that guy, Sam Mitchell, Doug West, and like, yeah, you could make an argument, but this is not a straight up rank the best Timberwolves and then put them into. This is meaningfulness to the franchise. There's other components involved here that go beyond. Did they score 20 points in a couple seasons, scoring average wise?
Yep, correct.
So, Terrell Brandon, what does your gut say?
I'm sort of on the fence here because,
tough, dude.
Yeah, I do think if you're going to put Steph in, that there is an argument to put Terrell in, but I wouldn't.
I think we leave him out.
I wouldn't. So starting, and I know it sounds weird, but starting with Sprewell, I wouldn't put up a big fight to put guys in. So Terrell Brandon, Andrew Wiggins in different circumstances, because the numbers in retrospect certainly support that he was a good player, effective player. But we also saw him play while covering the team, and we saw the issues.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't fight for him by any means.
He didn't fight for the team and the organization.
No. Yeah.
So why should we fight for him?
And Al Jefferson
fight to grab a rebound once in a while.
And Al Jefferson also is a reminder of the Garnett trade. He put up good stats, but he was on some awful teams. I just don't feel. I guess I'm doing this. If this makes sense, I'm doing this out of who I feel a connection to is Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I don't feel any connection to Jefferson. I feel a big one to like Googs.
So the line is Terrell Brandon is right at the ticket office for. He's right behind the tape here.
I would say no on Brandon, but if you two said yes, I wouldn't fight you. Like I guess I would say no on Sprewell and yes on Cassell, and I know that sounds weird. But if you two say Spree belongs, I'm also not going to put up like a big stink about that.
I think we sneak Spree in. Dex can break the tie on Spree.
I guess it's more. I go back to it. It's an ode to the Western Conference Finals team. So, like, I don't think Spree. Like, yes, he was a key cog for that. I think Terrell Brandon. You know, if you just even look at impactful point guards for this franchise, it's tough. Like, and especially in from the KG era, like Terrell Brandon was really good. Steph was like at the peak its best, but like Terrell Brandon in 211 games, the Wolves was incredibly effective. Yeah, this one's hard for me.
From the heart, man. It's got to
Yeah.
be from your heart.
If
here.
we're struggling this much with Terrell Brandon, then I think he can still get in at some point. He's up for consideration.
I've got the same. So yeah, because I think I draw the line at. I've got the same struggle with Brandon and Spreewell. After that, I don't think I have a struggle at all with guys.
Okay, and I think just envision a ceremony where you're putting Sam Cassell and Kevin Garnett in the Wolves Den of Honor created here
And
on
I'm leaving
Flagrant
Spree
Howls.
out?
And Spree's not invited, or Spree's invited to the ceremony, but he's not going in. It would be weird.
So if you call Spree and say, "Hey Spree, great news, new Timberwolves, we're gonna put you in our new Den of Honor," and Spree says, "That'll be great, $500,000."
Okay, then Spree, I got kids to feed.
Spree, we got problems here.
Yeah.
No money. We'll send you a plane ticket and we'll put you up at a nice hotel.
Yeah, we'll give you a couple meals or something. So we're saying no on Wiggins, no on Al Jefferson. It's probably a no on Pekovic for similar reasons. Yeah, he's just fun player, but 50 games a season. Didn't really cut it.
Prorated Hall of Fame.
Prorated.
So among retired or close to retired players in the Wolves Den of Honor, Kevin Garnett, Tom Gugliotta, Kevin Love, Stephon Marbury, Latrell Sprewell, Sam Cassell, Ricky Rubio, Wally Zerbiak, Malik Sealy, honorable, just tragic passing, right?
Yeah, he's not retired, so.
Tony Campbell, Sam Mitchell, Pooh Richardson, Doug West in the founders wing of the Den of Honor. And then open for consideration, players that are currently active at some point. We can have a cat discussion. We can have a discussion about some of the other guys. Before we get to the other wings here of the Wolves Den of Honor.
This is awesome.
Maybe you're celebrating the Den of Honor nomination here, and you want to feel pretty good waking up the next day. Dex, what product should you consider using?
My friends at Z Biotic, make your first drink of the night. Z Biotics. Look, I'm in my 30s now, about to be a dad. The fun evenings I'm gonna have are already limited, and the mornings after can be even more rough. So Z Biotic is pre-alcohol probiotic drink, and it's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. So when you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut, and it's the buildup of this byproduct, not necessarily dehydration, that is to blame for those rough mornings. So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to help break that product down. If you're looking to get in and make those mornings a little bit easier, we have a nice code for Flagrant Howls listeners. Go to zbiotics.com/howls to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Howls at checkout.
Hey, Parlor is slinging burgers. They're slinging all sorts of fun stuff over at Parlor.
If you want to get the best burger in town, that's right, I said it, the best burger in town. There's 3 places, but one name, Parlor. They are in Excelsior, they are in the North Loop, and of course, just down the street from the new, formerly the Grand Casino Arena. If you're going to a Wild game down West 7th, there's no better place to get a pregame bite to eat than Parlor. Now, I'm going to tell you, the entire menu is fantastic. Craft cocktails, great beer choices, but the Parlor burger is what they're famous for, and if you have not tried it, you absolutely have to. So check them out. Parlor, again, in Excelsior, North Loop in Minneapolis, and also West 7th Street, just down from Grand Casino Arena in St. Paul.
And then one more thing before we get to the rest of this exercise here. There's a big hockey tournament coming up here. The World Junior is one of your favorite events, Judd.
Yep, exactly right. And this is the best this is the best tournament on a yearly basis, I think, in all of sports. The last time that it was held here was 1982. So it's not going to be coming back for a long time. But this one, you are going to see the future of the National Hockey League on display. And we're talking all stars. The World Juniors starts December 26th and concludes January 5th of 2026. It's going to be held at Grand Casino and 3M at Mariucci as well. Check out ticket packages right now. It's this simple. Just go to worldjuniorsmn26.com. Worldjuniorsmn26.com. You will see the future stars of the National Hockey League on display this winter.
All right, let's complete the exercise here. So we're building out the Wolves Den of Honor. We've got our player wing, different sections of the player wing, broadcasters and coaches and executives who deserve consideration here. So coaches, executives, Bill Musselman, right?
I mean, yeah, first coach.
Or for coaches? Yeah.
Yep, first coach.
just in the founders wing. I
Yep,
think he
yep.
belongs.
Yeah, exactly right. That's yes.
Flip Saunders. Chris Finch is active, so he's not. Tim Connolly active, not part of the discussion.
Yep.
And this may be controversial, but he drafted Kevin Garnett and helped build the first series of playoff teams. And then on the bookend, acquired Kevin Love on draft night.
Yep.
Kevin McHale.
Yeah.
Had a really rough run at times in between, but like at the end of the day, Kevin
started
McHale
out great.
built playoff
Started
teams.
out great. Yeah. Yep. I think it's Mussy in the founders or the builders wing, McHale and Flip, who, by the way, it's forgotten now, but they were tied like together as well for a long time. That, it didn't end this way, but they were best friends. I also think in the founders or the builders wing, you have to put Marv Wolfenson and Harvey Ratner in, who were the original owners of the franchise. They built Target Center. Didn't end well, but they brought the NBA back, and I think Glenn Taylor has to go in.
God.
I mean, he bought him. Like he did save him at the time. I think he's got to go in. Sorry.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, he's got to go in.
I can't with that guy. I can't with that guy.
He's got to go in.
He's one of the worst owners in the history of team professional sports.
But he played a huge role in. I mean, Marv and Harv were like trying to actively sell the team. I mean, you could make an. They brought the NBA back, but they also almost cost us it. But I think you got to put them in, and I think you got to put Glenn in for buying the team.
They, out of respect, you probably do put the 30-year owner in, whatever.
Yeah,
they went to 3 Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I mean, do I like
how I
from
feel about
what
the guy.
transpired? No. Do I think if we're going to accurately represent the Timberwolves Den of Honor, I don't think that you can put. They've essentially had, well, not essentially, they have had up until now 2 ownership groups total. I think you got to put them both in.
He's gonna get in, whether it would be immediate or. I'm not trying to speak this in, but like in the event of his untimely passing,
untimely.
It will.
He's been around a
right.
bit.
Wow.
Right. But when that happens, this tends to get a little easier with the discussion.
Well,
so I'm with Judd. I think he's in no matter what. But
you know what
that does tend to happen.
Here, Phil. I will help ease the pain. It's sort of like McHale, right? Because there was an end to McHale that was awful, but
fair.
McHale drafted Garnett, which Glenn signed off on. I mean, Glenn also paid. I mean, part of the reason why the strike happened, it was at 98, 99, was because of the fact that the Garnett contract was seen as being so ridiculous, but he paid him. So I don't know.
Okay, so it would probably be posthumously, right? He'd be going in posthumously.
He's still alive. I'm not trying to
that's
kill
what
him.
Declan said.
But I mean, let's be honest. That's what happens. That's what happens.
Yeah.
People die, and then
but we're
and then
doing it
they're-
right now. Okay, but let's say that Mark
would he get booed? I think he might get. Or now, people
I
have
don't
softened
think
a little
so.
bit on Glenn, but
if he still owned the team, he might, but he doesn't. And look, if Mark and Alex are watching this right now, they are saying we got to do this.
Remember when
ASAP.
poor who was the Bulls architect,
Jerry Krause?
Jerry Krause, and his wife or something was there being honored on his
And he got
behalf
booed.
last year, and they were booed and poor. I don't know who it
She
was. Someone
cried.
reached over, was like, "I am so sorry. This is messed up."
And she was crying. It was awful.
Yes, it was awful. It was
Bulls
terrible.
fans are pretty terrible. Yeah.
And he did build the team, or he played a key role in it.
Any consideration for the leader that pulled the Wolves out of a decade-and-a-half playoff utility stretch, Tom Thibodeau,
No.
and was an OG assistant on the early 90s.
So that part is the more intriguing part of this. Is I think his
bullet.
early ties to the franchise.
I need to give
and
that
then
more thought.
coming back, but I lean no.
Well,
I lean no.
Can we agree that we are meeting right now to establish the initial
And he's up for annual consideration.
I feel like we can talk
sure.
about him. I don't feel like I could put him in the original class.
Agreed with Judd.
Okay, so those are the coach. Gerson Rosas drafted Anthony Edwards.
Again, we could talk about him for sure.
Just throw his name out. Gerson. And then broadcasters,
Yep.
Kevin Harlan,
Yep.
Tom Hanneman,
In
Chad Hartman,
Jim Peterson.
Jim Peterson. Yep. Did you hesitate on our buddy Chad there?
I was thinking about Chad. I've been, he
He was,
So
dude, he was like radio guy during the heyday, man.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Harlan was TV and radio, and Chad did the games that Kevin worked TV because they didn't simulcast, which was actually smart. But he definitely was here at the beginning. So
yeah,
I just think that, Harlan and Hanny are in instantly. There's no discussion there. And Jim is now too. And heck, you know what? Chad and Jim were paired for a long time in the 90s on the radio side. So beyond those four, I can't think of anyone I'd consider.
At some
Sean
point,
Grandy, no.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Benz was around for a long time, but I don't know that he has like that
Horton,
iconic staying power.
Horton, I would consider eventually.
But he's active right now.
Correct.
So, yeah.
But Horton's
Horton's in whenever but Horton's going to be around as long as he wants to. Man.
He's young.
So I think that's a good start right there.
I would like to hear the or see the feedback on like some of the lower rung guys.
And did we miss is there anyone egregiously that we just like forgot to mention, which is entirely possible in these 30 or 40 minutes?
But it's not active players other than Love too. So
no active players, broadcasters.
I just know our audience was gonna freak out.
And you looked at me sideways.
I mean, and he's a Cat's a slam dunk Timberwolves Hall of Famer.
Totally.
Slam dunk.
Oh no!
So probably gets his number retired too.
Just wanted that out there, so saving us from the comments. Yes. Yes.
Let's talk about 32.
Well, no, he's Slam Dunk Den of Honor, which doesn't exist
100%.
outside of Flagrant Howls. I think that he's a Slam Dunk for the jersey retirement at some point too, only after KG. Not in your world, but I think in the world of like what gets jerseys retired, I do think it.
I think does 1 and 5, do they both go up in the rafters eventually?
Both
numbers.
I'm like bad with
Kobe.
numbers.
Kobe wore them both.
Oh, both of his
Kobe
numbers.
has both of his jerseys retired.
Yeah.
Does Ant get 1 and 5?
Probably. All right, that's a wrap. Flagrant Howls.
Great episode.
Let us know what you think about the Wolves Den of Honor idea here, and maybe we can work with the new ownership, turn this into a reality. We'll see you guys next week on your favorite Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.